Hello YouTube, I have decided to make a video today. I've been playing a lot of the quick play hacked mode in Overwatch, and I think that the skill set required to play main tank, specifically Reinhardt and Winston, is quite drastically different in 6v6, and I've played a lot of it years ago in Overwatch 1. So I wanted to make a sort of explanation slash guide video talking about things like how to play around your team more, how to play with your other tank, and yeah, let's get into it. So the first replay I've got here is playing Winston on Dorado, which, as you may know, is a fantastic map for Winston. So getting into the start of it, I'm playing pretty much the same way that you would play in 5v5. This building's really strong for Winston because your team can cover you here. I've got all my team able to shoot at anyone that comes up here. And I can also drop behind the enemy team and create split focus. I can drop off anywhere from this building, trade my bubble for their cooldowns, and jump back up to safety. So, yeah, nothing different yet, but I will explain how the thought processes are different as I go. So whoever comes up here, I'm going to trade with. Even D.Va is fine. I mean, I've got the sort of true damage on my lightning nowadays. She gets demeched and didn't know I was there. I'm going to trade a little bit more, but first thing I'm going to talk about is I'm really not super interested in kills. At the very least, I will go for this kill, but I will not overextend for the kill. I will threaten it, but threatening the kill itself is what creates the space, if that makes sense. So this Vendetta has to get the hell out, get out of this position where she can dive and threaten my team, and that's my job done. I don't need to kill that Vendetta, and it's not something you should be thinking about if you're playing Reinhardt and Winston in 6v6, in my opinion. You have other more important priorities. So there was like 4 people here, and I traded attention with all of them. So my team's really been sitting smoking a cigar this whole time. But I'm not gonna have my bubble for a while. And like I said, there was a lot of people up there. I could stay there for longer, but I decided to just play it safe and just get out and reassess the situation. So I jump back to my team. Obviously going to poke for ult charge with right click. And I want to get back on that building because, as I said earlier, it's a power spot. But now, because I kind of made a mistake and jumped back, it's a little bit dicey to jump over. The Winston could jump up and the Pharah could also fly up and trade on me. So I'm waiting now for the enemy team to use cooldowns. Their D.Va's DMAC, so they really have only one tank. So, yeah, if they commit into our space or use cooldowns, just any sort of commitment, I want to jump back across it. I'm not going to go straight away. So Winston jumps, great. Don't, this is perhaps another 6v6 concept, although this does apply to 5v5. You don't really want to trade with the enemy Winston as Winston. I think there's a lot more of that in 5v5 where you jump around after the Winston when you are the one with the space. And he's the only one who's being aggressive and you're playing a defensive tank, then yeah, you're going to trade with the Winston more. But there's more important things to do in 6v6, and my team can deal with that just fine. So avoid trading with Winston. It's a bit of a waste of time, in my opinion. So I trade cooldowns, maybe not the best trade, but I zoned them back a bit. I know they have Ana, but I'm about to make a big mistake here. I should be looking for the Ana. It's the most important target to bubble, but I don't. You saw her for a split second, but I didn't realize in game. So because of that, I don't position my bubble properly, and I'm actually going to die here. This isn't great. Obviously, I should scout for the Ana and not die, but the difference in 6v6 is that me dying here is still kind of doing my job, and my team doesn't automatically lose the fight because Sigma's still there to hold the line. So it's a little bit cope, but I think it's also true. Dying's not the end of the world if you're playing these main tank characters in 6v6. I got a lot of good rotations. Whoops. Got a lot of good rotations off, a lot of good cooldown trades, and my team was able to survive until I get back anyway. Sorry. So here I was trading with the Vendetta. This is something else that basically because we have 2 tanks, I'm going to explain the reason I make this play here. So first of all, the Vendetta used 2 cooldowns. So I tried to jump and bubble to cut her off from healing to maybe kill her. But then you can see that I'm anti-naded here. The Ana actually... I know that my bubble is still alive. I'm not looking behind me, but I know that the Ana has walked into my bubble, because otherwise the nade wouldn't hit me, right? Because there's a bubble there. So I already know that their Ana's playing really, really aggressively, like far too aggressively in my opinion. So I make the decision to jump out here, as you see. I don't need to do anything. You see she dies instantly. As soon as that happens, as soon as I get hit with the anti-nade, I'm like, I'm out and we've won. She's too far forward. I know that because what I explained about the bubble earlier. She's wasting her nade, in my opinion. I still have jump. I'm perfectly fine. This is the kind of play that you would maybe get rewarded more for in 5v5 as Ana. In 6v6, when you just throw your nade at the tank off of cooldown, they're just going to back up and the other tank's going to take their place. It's not really going to be a good play. I think you should be looking to nade specifically to punish certain things, or nading backline, more or less. Nading frontline's just... The other thing is, like, because there's two tanks, I'm just not as important, right? I'm not as much of an MVP, you could say. In 5v5, if that led to me dying, the team kind of instantly loses the fight, but in 6v6, that's not going to be the case. So, bad nade by Ana. So because they don't have Ana, I'm looking to poke with right click here. Mercy might struggle to keep up with the healing a bit. Taking a bit too much damage, but I'm going to back up here. No, I'm not. Never mind. I'm talking nonsense. It's not really your job to peel on Winston, but there's not much else going on, and their Winston's dead. The D.Va's the only other tank, so here I am going to peel. I wouldn't recommend doing this. Don't do this a lot as Winston. If you have a well-rounded comp, you're going to have something, you know, like the Sigma, D.Va, Zarya. They're going to be better at peeling than you. Trading backlines is a better way to deal with those situations most of the time, as Winston specifically. And I'll show you what I mean in the next fight, I think, that's coming up. So there's not much going on now, but they're diving really aggressively. The Vendetta was there, the D.Va was there. The Winston gets nano boosted. In this situation, I mean, to be honest, in 5v5, it's probably similar here, but regardless, the strategically correct decision is to go and zone off the backline, because if that Ana manages to find an angle to land a nade or a shot for the Winston with nano to follow up on, it's lights out for my backline. And as I was explaining earlier, you're just not good at peeling on Winston. Like, there's nothing to do with the nano Winston. I don't deal any meaningful damage to him. I can't stop him. Can't CC him. So you just trade backlines, and basically you're hoping for a situation where you cancel out the Winston's engage to some extent. Your backline's under more pressure and likely to take more damage, but this is still the best play you can go for. And here, once again, I got the anti-nade out. The supports are zoned really far back, as you saw. They're almost getting back to spawn, and it's both supports. When you're shooting at a support in 6v6 and they're getting healed, don't be fussed about the fact that you can't kill them. It's not a big deal. Having both supports there is more than enough value. I promise I'm doing God's work in this fight by keeping both the supports there. The healing is like so zoned off. They're the ones with nano, and their backline is zoned this far. Because, well, in my opinion, the D.Va should be peeling me off of this Ana, but she's going aggressive instead. And it's going to result in them getting very split from their team, and their dive's actually going to fail because of that, because they just don't have the healing in the follow-up. It doesn't fail per se, but they don't win the fight as hard as they maybe could have. I get out, I have Primal. We got some trades. And here, my job is just to touch the point with Primal. It's nothing more complicated than that. I know that the Pharah has Barrage because I'm roughly ult-tracking as I play. So I'm going to jump in, I'm going to respond to the Barrage with the Primal Rage to survive. And then it's just Pogo Stick. Just make sure I don't C9 the point, but also that I'm not just standing in place and losing all of my health. Mess up my jump a bit, it's fine. You can see the mechanics by me were nothing impressive, nothing great, but I did my job, and that's the important part. And now this Ana's cut off and she really just needs to die. There's no reason she should get out here. D.Va's doing her job now and pushing me off, but Anna's far too out of position. So I can jump off and I can cut her off with a bubble. And we get a great stagger. So they've actually swapped to Reaper here, but I don't notice that in the game, which is a mistake by me. So I'm going to get punished for that. Should definitely be hitting tab and just checking what they have. So Winston jumps, and again, I have that mindset. I want to trade the backlines. I don't want to jump back to the Winston. Honestly, here, I maybe could jump back to the Winston just because his team is so far off. I think that he's pretty likely to die. But I would make the argument, if he's that zoned off, my team are going to kill him, and the damage I contribute isn't going to be meaningful enough. I think I'm always going to get more value just being up front, basically. He does get the Valk healing. I jump in. I haven't hit tab, so they have Zenyatta Reaper now. This jump was probably a mistake anyway, but it's an extra mistake when they have Zenyatta Reaper, so that's my fault. The problem mainly was that I jumped sort of out in the open in the middle of the road. I just wanted to find a target to zone, but I was too hasty. Just be a bit more patient and jump in a way where I can retreat to cover faster. And I can't really zone the Pharah anyway, right? Because, I mean, I think I do cause her to die because she jets up and gets shot, but it's not... I just went a bit too quick, yeah. That's my fault. But their Winston also dies. If I was backpeeling that Winston, in my opinion, the enemy team would have gotten too much space and would have walked forward, and this fight would have been looking a lot worse. That's how I think about it. And so I think even though I died, it's important that I made the correct decisions and did the right thing for the team. With D-Mech Diva, so it's a pretty easy kill. So here is interesting because I see the Reaper here, and obviously he's doing absolutely nothing down there. He's not going to be able to just walk. At least I'm pretty sure he's not just going to be able to walk on my Sigma. So I want the Reaper to go after me, but I don't want to fight him. To be honest, in 5v5 as Winston, you can actually trade the Reaper a lot more. But in 6v6, because you have that other tank there, it's more than fine to trade cooldowns with Reaper and just ignore him and run away from him and give the space. Because when you give space to a Reaper, if he teleports up here, it's not like he does much up here. He's still too far away to deal damage to other people. And everyone else pretty much in my team, even like Juno and Bap, are going to have an easier time fighting Reaper than me. Just because, you know, it's Winston and you've got a big hurt box and he's got his shotguns. So I'm specifically right-clicking the Reaper. I want to piss him off. I want him to come up here. You see, I'm all the way out. Not interested. Don't bother taking that trade. It's always going to be an inefficient HP trade, which is going to be bad for your team because your healers are going to have to put in work to keep your HP up. The Reaper lifesteals off you, deals a lot of damage, takes less damage. The overall resource trade is bad. I'm autopiloting a bit because I'm still playing as if they have Ana and I'm trying to block off the heals. I should adjust a little bit now that they have Zenyatta, but I don't. It's my fault. And then here I can just threaten to drop on their backline as they come in to help the team. I'm looking to kill the Baby Diva, but now I'm discording in a lot of trouble, so I'm going to get out and go get help. But my team's one up front, regardless. So I hope that was helpful in explaining how you go about playing Winston in 6v6 and how you kind of change what you're doing with the extra tank and how all the interactions differ. And I'm going to spend the second half of this video doing a similar thing, but it's going to be Reinhardt this time. So as we're loading in, just want to reiterate, KDA is way less relevant when you play main tank specifically in 6v6. You have too many responsibilities to worry about carrying the game and getting kills. And you have less resources to do that anyway. So the resources that you have go into doing a specific job, which is taking space, which is a fairly abstract concept. If I had to explain what that is, you are... Well, now that we're on Reinhardt specifically, the closer you get to the enemy team, obviously the better, because you threaten to swing your hammer and pin on them with less time to react and blah blah blah. But so you're kind of creeping forward on the map, and any short corners you can take are great because you can swing at something, jump behind cover, get healed, swing at something. So you're basically going corner to corner, and you're just kind of clearing out the small space in front of you, the room. There's very few characters that are going to be able to fight you outside of their team's line of sight in these small corners. And the threat that you exert is going to be more of what makes space than just, walking down with the shield. So I think one mistake you might make with Reinhardt, and this isn't a 6v6 specific thing, but don't be too much of a shield bot. Here, the Zarya bubbles me a bit early, and I'm looking to tuck into the left corner, as I was explaining earlier. But that's okay, I can't control that. I would have liked if she bubbled me either as I walk through the choke, or as I get to the next corner and start swinging on the Sigma to enable my aggression. I think it's important for Zarya to time it that way, but no harm done. And the Sigma is playing way too far forwards. There's no reason for that. It could be on height. It could be just 10, 15 meters back. There's no reason. I'm almost in range to swing on him. There's no real purpose for him to be there. He could just be shooting from a distance. And so he makes that mistake and dies. And now I see I have my Zarya here. Bubble will be up in maybe 3 or 4 seconds. I'm not sure. But the Queen is... The Sigma just died. The Sigma can't cover the Queen. The Queen's also too far forwards. So I'm going to go for a pin. I get it. Kind of lucky. You can say what you like. The enemy team, they kind of just troll and give us this point. And now it's just a case of, I have the objective, I'm happy, and I'm going to play this corner. Here, the Zarya wants to be aggressive, keep getting ult charge, keep getting charge from the bubble. So it's important that you track the Zarya's personal bubble cooldown as Reinhardt, because Zarya is at her weakest when she doesn't have that bubble. She's a very just streamlined, cooldown reliant character. When she has the bubble, she's safe. When she doesn't, she's not safe. So part of the synergy of Rein Zarya is I make sure she's safe when she's not safe with the shield. So don't be too far away from your Zarya in these situations. If she doesn't have her bubble, I want to be there. She should have it because I've not seen her use it. So I'm not too worried yet. But Zarya is like a really important member of the team. She provides so much damage, and also she helps you with the team bubbles. I would say that like overall in terms of like a fight playing out, she's more important than you because she's dealing a lot more damage than you. So Zarya dying before you is kind of a disaster. You should actually be happy to just die before your Zarya. Don't go feed right, but put yourself in the way and make sure that she stays safe. You're really playing a supportive team-based game here as Reinhardt. So the point's getting capped, and an important concept to keep in mind on Reinhardt. Behind us is the choke, obviously. And chokes are really bad because the enemy can focus all of their attention, cooldowns, and damage into one little area, which is really dangerous for squishy characters, right? For like Cassidy, Widow, Juno, and Mizuki, that's really dangerous if they try to go through there. And all of that damage and cooldowns are flying in. There's a high chance that they could die. So you might... The traditional line of thought is, Rein puts a shield up and you walk through the choke, and that can be fine sometimes, but an easier way to go about it is just to take the corner in front of the choke, because now the payload and my team are going to be able to move through that choke and start taking space on this part of the map while they're all distracted with me at this corner. So it just like, me being here means they can't be forward at the corner shooting at the choke, and then my team can get through safely. That's a more consistent way to go about taking space as Reinhardt. So you could argue that we should take height here, and honestly, I think it's not a bad idea for like Zarya to go up with Widow, or Mizuki to go up with Widow. You probably need the Zarya to stop the ball and Hazard from diving the hit scan that goes up there. You could even make the argument that I should go up there as well. I'm not. I think I maybe should, but I don't, because I'm not a perfect player. I make mistakes, and this sort of big long choke is pretty bad for Reinhardt. This is the kind of space you don't want to get caught in, Like I said though, I want the payload to get through the choke so that we're no longer worried about getting spammed out at the choke. That's like the main priority. Then I can think about going height or maybe pinning across to the right. But staying here main, it's not really ideal and I'm not really liking it. So this is what I'm talking about. Zarya uses her bubble. You can't let the Zarya die here. I want my shield to come back, but you have to shield off the Zarya. That's when she's weak. The enemy team tried to punish it, but you as Reinhardt are there to make sure that she stays alive, keeps her charge, and keeps dealing damage. So we're -2 here. I think the Widow did go up height. It would have been nice if someone went up to help her. But that's not really your job as Reinhardt unless your whole team is going up there. I definitely think Mizuki or Zarya could have maybe walked up there, but no big deal. No bubble on Zarya again. Make sure she's fine. Make sure she doesn't die. And here I'm going to go across here. So that's basically what I was talking about before. The attention's all focused. Hang on, let me just use the camera real quick. The attention's all focused over there, and that's inherently dangerous for my team. I can live that kind of pressure, but not my team. So when I come over here, the idea is just to kind of create split attention so that the enemy team's not going to all be perfectly in sync and all focus me or all focus the choke over there. So you're kind of taking advantage of their lack of coordination and communication to some extent. But I do think this is a good idea regardless, even if they're fully coordinated, because it's putting them in an awkward position. They obviously don't want me creeping around the side of the map, because don't forget that Rein has a hammer that deals a lot of damage and he's a very powerful melee character. So me creeping up is just the threat of me being able to get close is enough for the enemy team to stop and say, wait a minute, we can't let this guy creep up onto our Ana and cave her head in, so we're going to do something about it. But I pin back across because I recognise that I'm not going to be able to push quite yet. I'm going to try and kind of force the same thing again. I think I should have maybe looked behind to see where my team was. They might not be quite there yet, but that's my fault regardless. I would say don't worry too much about this type of death. I'm trying to get my team into a good position. Sounds cope like I'm trying, but I'm using my health and my shield and my resources. And you could argue maybe not the right place, but the idea is correct still, I would say. But this is getting a bit, like this area is too hard to force through, right? There's too much open space. It's not good for Reinhardt. I'm starting to think about how I want to use my mobility, my pin, to actually move around the map, which is something you would do more in 5v5, and kind of just leave my Zarya. I wanted to kind of help the Mizuki, but he's kind of just staggering in. He didn't really seem to want to live, so they're going to be pressuring me here, but it doesn't really matter. I guess they forced the bubble. I was absolutely fine there though, it was never an issue. So here, this is a similar situation where the hazard is going to get nanoed, so I want to kind of pin across. This was in case he jumped around to try to get the squishies and I could maybe intercept, so I just wanted to see if I could pin him. I can't. To be honest, the Zarya bubbling me here is a mistake in my opinion. The hazard's not going to... At least she should wait till I take a bit of damage from the hazard and he actually commits to focusing me. She's just assuming that that's what he wants to do, but I can already tell that he just wants to go straight backline. And that is my Zarya's job. I'm not... Again, Reinhardt and Winston, the thing they share in common, they're not really great at peeling. It's not what they're designed to do. So in my opinion, Zarya should be back there peeling, but she's not. You could argue that I should go back to peel, but I think it's more important to just do my job. You can get into kind of thought loops where you're like, oh, if I'd done this, maybe we'll win the fight, but nah, just do your job and just do what your character is good at. I should probably just die here, like where the fight's over. Should just go next fast. I could have got maybe a 2-man fire strike for some ult charge before I left. I should have been thinking more about that. I'm never living there. I should be aiming for the ult charge. It's whatever. So you can see we're having a lot of trouble. This is where I'm going to start basically like pinning aggressively, playing more aggressively, and risky in general, because we're kind of just not getting anywhere. So I'm going to just pin across here. So the Wrecking Ball's idea is now the Wrecking Ball uses mines and I'm cut off from my team. But on this map, behind where Reinhardt is right now, I can just walk back around, so that's what I'm going to do. And you should really think of this as a very positive trade if you're playing main tank, because that's one ultimate down. Took me like 5 seconds to walk back around, and we can clear the mines and we're ready to just take the fight, no problem. So when you can bait out ults like this and no one dies and you're in an even state, that's great. It's a resource game, it's not about the kills. That's a fantastic resource down for my team. And now we can push in again. You can see Mazari swapped to Moga, but I don't think it changes too much about how I'm going to play and approach the game. So just playing objective here. Now that I have Earthshatter, basically what I'm going to look to do is the only characters that really have any incentive to play close to me is Hazard and Wrecking Ball. So ahead of this fight, what I'm thinking is I'm just going to Earthshatter the Hazard or Wrecking Ball. If some conditions are met, they have to be out of line of sight of their backline if I'm going to kill them personally. Or they have to be in a position where my team can shoot at them and I can shield to block the healing and the cooldowns so that they'll die. Those are kind of the conditions that I want to be met. If I just shatter the Hazard here, I doubt my team has much meaningful line of sight, and the Ana will keep him alive, no problem. I can't get the shield in front either anyway, so I'm not just going to shatter him right there. You can see the high ground is a bit brutal. I am wondering if I should have went round. But I heard the Wrecking Ball shooting me from the side, so I decided to both stun him, kill him, and go and get the Mega. And while I'm doing that, my team wins the fight, so that's fantastic. We kind of just forced objective hard, which isn't too bad. It is a way to play Reinhardt, it's not the end of the world. It could have been rough for my team getting dove, but we managed to make it work. And here again, the corner after the choke is where you want to be on Reinhardt. The corner after the choke, not the corner at the choke. One corner past it. Because now, like I said, my team can get through the choke without too much pressure. And I can be the one to take the heat, and they can't just walk past me to pressure my team, because I am here to swing my hammer. So that's like a concept you need to get in mind when you play Reinhardt. I'm here, they can't walk up to this choke, therefore, you know, the Sigma can't get line of sight to shoot at the choke, therefore I'm preventing damage from my team without even shielding or anything, just because they can't walk up and trade HP here, because it'll be bad for them, because Reinhardt deals a lot of damage in close range. So Sigma's taking a bit of a wider angle. That Hazard's in a rough spot because he's basically in full line of sight to my team. I mean, he has that pillar there, but yeah, he's going to have to get out. Doesn't have a big rectangle shield like me. And here I'm going to pin across and basically take the space that the Hazard wanted. So I make a mistake here. I don't actually have to do anything with this Kitsune. It's not for me necessarily. The rest of my team get tons of value out of it, and me messing with this rally brig and the Kitsune is a mistake. I just need to play my life. This is, don't do what I'm doing here. This is what I'm talking about with like the 5v6 versus 6v6 mentality. I'm thinking about killing that brig. It's not my job, and I get punished for it. You'll see. Lose too much HP and die, and that's because I went for a kill. It's not my job. My team are perfectly capable of killing things on their own. I needed my health and my shield to do my job. So I play badly and I get punished. That's just how it goes. So here you can see I'm being quite aggressive, but it's mainly because there's nothing in my view from their backline. It's not in my line of sight, so I'm not worried about them. So it's just a Hazard and a Sigma, which I can deal with at this range fine. It's not gonna... As long as I block rock, I'm not really going to die. So you can see what I'm talking about. That when you're at a corner as Reinhardt, your short range threat is just going to force them to back off, which you see it does. And I'm greedy, so I want even more space, so I take the next corner. Moga pins in to block the CC from Hazard ult, and I can't really save him, but I knew at the time he's probably dead. It's not a big deal. Another ultimate out of them, and I'm just going to pin back across, because the fight's lost. And there's no particular reason that I need to feed them ult charge and die. I'll just reset and go to the next fight. It's not a problem. Air Shatter again, I'm going to look for the hazard mostly because he's going to be someone who's playing close to me because he's also a short range character. Once the conditions I said earlier are met, so once he gets out of line of sight of his team, or I can block line of sight to his team and my team has line of sight of him as he's Air Shattered. Morga dies, but we also trade the Bastion, so it's even. And here, I'm going to shatter him. And then you can see use the shield to block the line of sight. I don't need to be the one killing him. That's my team's job. I did my job and cleared the space. And I'm going to need some resources back here. So I'm going to get some shield back. And I'm going to go corner to corner and take more space on the map. Again, splitting their POV so they're not all focused on the choke and all just focusing on my team. The hazard wants to contest me here, but I have a big rectangular shield and he doesn't. So I can sponge the damage from his team and stay in this position. But he is a 5v5 tank who is designed to block with his face. So when he... I think it's important to probably go out in the camera here just to really show this. This is like a corner, so my team can see this part that me and Hazard are playing at. And also if I go over here, their team can... Actually, their team can't even really see it. So this is actually really good for me because their team can't actually really shoot at me and my team is able to shoot at this hazard. So I actually didn't even realize it was that good for me. But yeah, basically he has less durability to long range damage. So he'll actually get forced out by my team, which is why it's good to play here because I split the enemy POV and to get cover from my team. So he's going to try stuff, but then you see he just has to jump out. Meanwhile, me, I'm almost full resources, and look here I'm looking to creep forward because he was forced out thanks to my team. I can walk corner to corner, and this is basically, so as Reinhardt, if you just do this corner to corner playstyle but you never really commit aggressively, the enemy team's going to start ignoring you. They're just going to be like, well, he's not actually doing anything right, he's just standing there and we can't go into that space, but that's fine. So it's important that you creep forward and take more and more of the map and make sure that you're a problem and that they have to deal with you. So that's what I'm doing here. They're not allowed to ignore me, and I get the feeling that that's what they want to do and they want to focus my team more. So here, because of the sort of wall hacks I had, I know that Anna's here, and I know that if I focus her and distract her, she's most of their healing, and I had access to the target. There's no one in my way. This is a good play by me, in my opinion. She doesn't even notice him here, and then block the sleep, miss the fire strike. She's dead, and we should win the fight from here. So, I hope that was helpful. I didn't play too much around that tank, to be honest, that Zarya Morga. I'm not sure they knew exactly what they were doing, but with the Rein Zarya synergy in particular, I felt I did my job, and it's important to do my job there. I hope I was able to kind of show the mentality difference in the 6v6 main tank, aka Reinhardt and Winston, and the 5v5 style. In 5v5, you're going to be in situations more where you're able to hard carry a fight because you have more damage, more HP, and take more space on your own. But obviously, I'm not going to go into all the details about 5v5, 6v6, but you can get counter swapped more. When enemy team shuts you down, your team suffers a lot more for it. So it's less about the sort of KDA or less the DPS in 6v6. I view it personally, maybe this is kind of thinking about it too passively, but I think you're like a third support. I think you're really there to enable other people on your team. It's not really about you. If you have Earth Shatter or Primal, sure. If you can get like some plays with pin or catch isolated targets as Winston, sure. But most of the game, you're looking to set up other people to carry you. You're a support and you're looking to enable your team to carry you and deal damage. That's the way I'm viewing it. So if you're going to go into 6v6 and play these characters, I would say the most important thing is to forget about KDA and forget about securing kills. Just look to take little bits of the map, little by little, and think about what your team needs, and think about who your other tank is and how you can enable them. Some of the synergies are a bit complicated, but I think most of it's intuitive. And just in general, shift the mindset to be a bit more of a team player and a bit less of a carry. And I think you can do fine in 6v6 playing Reinhardt and Winston. Hope that was helpful. Peace out. Goodbye.